Live. I'm going to check. Should see us on here. Hello. Do I have to refresh my page? Do you see us?
I just saw myself blowing my nose. Yes, we are there.
We are? Nice. All right. I'm going to share it on my timeline so we can get some more people come in. So we're going to talk passwords today. I have Erin here, and this is password month. At least DS Tech has password month. So there's a password day that already passed. So we decided to make it password month because we could talk about passwords a lot because it's first line of defense against the hackers and the bad people. So let's get going. So tip number, sorry, my phone's ringing in the background. I should have muted it. Tip number 1 is don't reuse passwords. Why?
Well, I think a lot of the common notion out there, and we've been using the internet for 35, 40 years now. Passwords have been a big thing of our lives. And I think it's been easy to reuse the same ones over and over again. You know, the Jeff 123 or password 12345. But the fact of the matter is the lay of the landscape is it's gotten worse. It's gotten a lot scarier out there. The threat is a lot higher. The risk is a lot higher. And the bad guys don't care. They could care less about whose password or who the person is behind the password. They just want to compromise and take advantage. So. Yep.
And the problem is if you're using one password in all of those places, if they get one, they can figure it out. And I believe Dave touched on that a little bit last week. And we did talk about creating streaks. So if you missed that, go to our YouTube channel. You can pick it up. So don't reuse passwords. Okay, the next little piece of advice is using a password manager. And no, that's not like a spreadsheet or a document or a text document. I've seen that.
Yeah, what a password manager is a piece of software that you can install or you can access through a browser that will manage all your passwords for you. And once you get it set up and kind of configured appropriately, whenever you add a new password, it prompts you to save that password, and then it will autofill the next time you go to that site for you. So it sort of takes that remembering what your password is for every given site off the plate if you're using a password manager. Here at DS Tech, we use a password manager to help facilitate our password safety and security.
Yes. And we also talked a little bit about this before we came live, but Google Chrome and Microsoft Edge have a built-in password manager. But if you use that, I mean, it's not the most secure method, but you can make it more secure by adding two-factor authentication to your Gmail account or your Microsoft Edge account, right?
Yes. And we would highly recommend two-factor authentication. One thing we would also like to state, too, if you're going to use a native browser's master password capability, keep in mind if that computer is a public computer or a computer that somebody else may have access to at any given time, you're going to want to make sure you log out of that master password application, because if you don't, that'll still be active and it could potentially lead to a compromise if somebody else happens to use that computer shortly after you and realizes that they have access to all your passwords.
Excellent. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, so the password managers that I've used in the past are LastPass. It's like a browser app. You can install a plugin and it's right there. And it's also online. And RoboForm is another one I've used before. Have you used any other ones?
No, I think you mentioned when before we came on that there was one at work here that we used before, like some sort of locker one, but I don't recall the name of it either.
Yeah. It was like, I can Google it. It was like password locker or something like that.
And I'll just make a quick note on LastPass. It's what we do use here at work. It can be used with Windows, Mac OS, Linux, Android, iPhone, iPad, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Internet Explorer, Edge, and Opera. So it does have kind of a universal appeal across multiple platforms. And the way it works too is it prompts you for a master password. So you have one master password to unlock all of your other site passwords. And of course, it's two-factor authentication. So the only way for us to even get to it is to A, know that big password, and then B, have the two-factor authentication come to us via our smartphone text message or app there.
Yeah. Yeah. I know it's hard. Sometimes when I didn't know the master password, I was like, oh no, now I can't get to any of my passwords, but I figured it out eventually. Woo!
Well, I think there's a beauty there with using a master password type application, in the sense that if you ever upgrade your computer or buy a new laptop or need to work remotely on a different computer or PC, if you do have that master password saved somewhere or memorized, you can actually get to all of your other site passwords fairly quickly, fairly easily. So it does take the burden of trying to remember, in some cases, 30 to 40 different passwords, only really requiring you to remember one.
Or 100. I think last week I did Google it and I found out the average person has 100 passwords.
Yep.
That's crazy. So yeah, and you have to have them all different. So there's no way you're going to remember 100 passwords. So do use a password manager, but make sure it's a secure one and make sure you have it two-factor authenticated. I'm not using the right words, am I? Two-factor authentication protected?
Yeah, you're exactly right. In no reality would we want to see a notification come across our devices that say your master password application is looking for access. Did you approve this access? Because that's the scary one.
I've had that happen actually on Google Passwords.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, that was not me. Deny. So yeah.
Yep.
It's scary. It's scary. Yep. Okay. Cool. Anything else to add before we leave?
I don't think so. I think that article that you had shared on our web newsletter was really good and a great place for people to get started with, because it does talk about how to get started with a password manager.
Awesome. Excellent. I'm glad you said that, because if you're not on our newsletter, go to dstech.net and click news and get on our newsletter, because we share articles like every week that are helpful for all of your technology, especially business owners, because we do talk about, like I think one of the topics yesterday was effective communication. And that was, in the business environment, it's important. So that was on our newsletter, and we're always sharing password security stuff and other security stuff. As well, you can sign up for your free security assessment on our website. So that's only for business owners. So, all right. Thank you, Aaron. Have a great day. If you have any questions, leave them below, guys. We can talk about them on our next one. Our next one is going to be another password topic. Don't remember what it was. Do you?
No.
It was how to check if your account passwords have been leaked. That's what it was. I just looked it up. All right. Well, make it a great day. We'll see you later.